Hello to vlog number 4. We're going into week 8 of Aaron's training here, and just want to remind you all this is the Toxic Optimist podcast where we unapologetically flip negatives into positives to inspire a cause for some good. Aaron, how are you feeling?
Feel good. That was
Nice.
a very good week of running. I was pretty happy with this week.
You texted me a week ago about some shin splints, or you called me crying
Yeah,
about some shin splints.
yeah. I think so. I got new shoes to help with it. I wouldn't. Would you call that shin splints? They're kind of on the side.
Shin splints is a big umbrella term, and yeah, they're in the inside. We call that medial, so middle
Okay.
tibia stress, medial tibial stress syndrome, which
Yeah.
is essentially an inflammation of the covering of the bone of the tibia that is usually provoked from too much
Yeah.
activity too soon.
Okay. Yeah. So it basically got to the point where I didn't notice it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of notice it now. After the weekend of running and the workout day.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad
Mm-hmm.
as when I called you. Like when I called you, it almost was at the point where it affected my running.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But now, I went on a 45-minute run this morning and it was fine. Like I didn't really think about it too much. But right now, like if I touch the spot, it's tender.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm not too worried about it.
It sounds par for the course. Sounds like growing
Yeah.
pains, and I think the new shoes really will help.
Oh, 100%.
Because I'm guessing, how many miles would you guess were on the old pair of shoes?
I would assume I bought them like a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
So enough.
it was
Like
a lot.
they were ready to be replaced for sure.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of runners will say 300 miles for a pair of shoes, which to
Okay.
me seems incredibly low amount. And if you're running like 40, 50 miles a week, that's basically a new pair of shoes every month for a lot of people.
Yeah. Jeez.
So that can get a little pricey. I'm more on the side. I push things probably a little bit more than I probably should because to
Yeah.
me I don't feel any difference. But one little anecdote, bit of data, bit of evidence that a little experiment I ran was, no pun intended. It was a little while ago, and I got a brand new pair of the same pair of shoe.
Yeah.
I did the same run 2 days in a row, with
Okay.
the second actually being longer, a little bit longer, but essentially the same run, same conditions around Blacksburg, and I ran much faster, and just overall rate of perceived exertion, just to me, how much effort it felt was
Really?
significantly less. So
And why do you think that is? Do you think they're more responsive?
they're more
What you do?
rigid, they're more responsive,
Yeah.
they're just fresh, and they're designed to do
Yeah.
their job. They do a good job when they're fresh, as opposed to being worn down.
Yeah.
Um,
That makes sense.
so I am a believer in that. I'm more on the side of, yeah, fresh pair of shoes.
What do you think of the whole buy two pairs of the same shoe and alternate them?
Yeah, I'm happy you brought this up. People will do that. Um, it's a little crazy, but it probably isn't going to make a big difference. But
Yeah.
if you're seeking marginal gains, then it's only going to work positively in your favor.
Yeah.
I think the problem people will have is they might overestimate how much of a value that can add to your.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the thing that I heard about it was like the shoes recover from a concussion the day before, and then
That's essentially
I
it.
I don't know if there's any truth to that, or if that's just like artistically coming out with something to sell more shoes.
Yeah, maybe, and then also there's a lot of nuance. People love to ignore the nuance there, where it's like, how long are you running? How heavy are
Yeah.
you? How fast were you running?
Yeah.
that run, how many hours exactly ago was it? We can surely we can measure this. Surely we can measure. I haven't looked at all any literature or research comparing that using that approach.
Yes.
But
Interesting.
it's
Yeah. So
it's minutia. Basically,
yeah.
you
So
get the
I
biggest.
think I'm just gonna let it ride. I'm not gonna think too hard about it. We're just got new
Yeah.
shoes. Shin splints should be going down. I also think just like having more miles on my legs, feeling like I'm getting stronger running wise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really worried about
Good.
that too much. Unless it gets to the point where we have to worry about it, then we worry about it. So that's kind of where I am.
If the race was in a week, I'd be worried about it. But considering it's in 5 months, I'm
Yeah.
okay about it.
Yeah.
Again, to emphasize the context here, we're in general conditioning phase where I just want to throw running at you at this point in time. But as we get closer and closer and closer, we'll start to introduce a lot more specificity in your training to really get ready for race day.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we'll start to like really dial in race pace and like heart rate at that race pace and doing our best to get heart rate down at the same pace at that race pace.
Okay.
More track workouts, more polarization overall. So the easy runs will be easier, but then the track workouts will be faster as we approach the competitive season.
Cool.
And then we'll talk about tapering, and I'll have you all ready for that. But very happy.
Yeah.
What kind of pair of shoes? What pair of shoes did you get?
So growing up, I always had Brooks Launch 5s. And I would always buy the exact same pair just because it worked for me. So literally up until like my last pair of shoes that I bought, it would be Brooks Launch 5, like not even the new model or anything. So I went on to Amazon to buy another pair of Brooks Launch 5, which is at this point about 7-year-old shoes.
Yeah, nice.
But they were not available, so I just bought the new launch model, and they feel fine. I mean, it's still kind of the same basic structure and everything, so I'm just letting it ride. And if I feel like it's affecting my running negatively, then I'll go grab another pair of shoes. But they feel fine. I think they're doing the trick.
Yeah. And also to touch on the whole alternating shoes thing, you're not running every day, and so I can't imagine that you're having loss value in that situation.
Yeah, I agree.
How did the track workout go?
Good. Yeah. So this whole week was very good.
Sweet.
I got really good sleep this week.
Nice.
So the track workout specifically, I'm trying to remember what the splits exactly were. I think so. The first lap, 131, and then 128, 128, 128, 128
Nice.
for the rest of the 5. And then it was like a 258 and a 259 and then a 558.
Sweet.
So we were like right back on,
yeah.
you know, if not outpacing what we're supposed to be at. So that felt really nice. I mean, I went in like, you know how if you kind of fail at one of the reps multiple times in a row, you'll go into the next workout and kind of be thinking a lot about it, and everything's kind of leading up to it. That was the 1600 for me. So I was like, all right, here we go. Like, this is it, you know. Like,
nice.
So I went into the 1600. It was just like thinking about it one lap at a time, you know. I was like, all right, we just got to hit 90 for the first lap or less. So I came through the first lap at like 128. And then, it might have been faster. I might have come through at like 127 or so. So then I come through the second lap and I'm at like, 259. And then come through the next lap, I'm like, 430-ish. So I'm like kind of slowing down. And then I was like, all right, let's just. The last lap is easy.
You get a full send, yeah.
Yeah. If the first 3 are on pace, you're hitting your pace.
The last lap of any track workout is an amazing place to be in.
Oh my
in
God,
life,
it's the best feeling.
because you get to really empty the tank, which feels good, and then you know that it's almost over, and then you'll get to
Yeah.
stop after that and
Yep.
just relish in the accomplishment. So
Yeah.
if you can make it through the first
So
three, you can finish that last one.
yeah, no, it's just the greatest feeling because it's like all the work is done.
Yeah.
I just got to finish it out, come across the end of this workout. Uh, the one part of the workout that if you were there in person, having told me what to do, I would have been complaining to you and being like, "This is so annoying."
Yeah.
Is the 1 mile cool down?
Oh,
It's
really?
the worst.
Oh,
It's
is it?
just
Okay.
annoying. It's just like if thinking back to high school track, I would have probably been yelling at Chuck.
Probably.
Chuck, this is so dumb. Like,
Right.
why am I doing this?
Why aren't we just playing Ultimate Frisbee, Chuck?
Yeah, yeah,
Pre
exactly.
cool down playing a game of Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah.
Um,
So I just was trotting through the last 16 after having a
Yeah.
good workout, and I was like, I hate that I'm doing this, but
okay.
I got to follow the plan.
Yeah.
But that was the one part where it was like, this
And
is so dumb.
we can modify that if you want. I don't want you to hate the end of it too badly. So maybe we can change it to like a 5 minute cooldown instead of a distance goal. We could change it to like a 5 minute
Oh yeah,
trot.
because
About
I'll tell like my the 1600 was like 11 minutes. I was literally just trotting around the track.
yeah. So that might be a little unnecessary, and yeah, it might not be worth draining your psyche over.
Yeah,
That seriously.
5 minutes would be cake. Like
Let's
that's
do 5 minutes. Let's
all right.
adjust it. I don't want you to be hating that part. So modify it 5 minutes. I'm not married to the cooldown that badly that much.
All right, cool, good.
But
I think I would rather spend time stretching.
Yes, sure. Which is another
No.
way of cooling down. So switch it to 5 minutes, and then just I think this week going forward. So it'll be the same thing, and I want you to get really good at this same thing, like clockwork.
Yeah.
Because we'll be building, we'll keep building, but at this stage in the game, I want things to maintain. I want you to maintain this level of fitness before we stack more on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so dial it in, keep ticking along. I really love that you got some good sleep this week, because last week was a bit of a nightmare as far as sleep schedule goes.
Sure.
And honestly, that's probably one of the best things you can do as a way to prevent injuries. It's cliche advice, but get high quality sleep. And the best runners, the best athletes in the world are the best sleepers.
Yeah.
So dial in that sleep hygiene. Try not to blast light in your eyes before bed. All the good stuff. Cool room.
Yeah.
I know you're good at that. So.
Yeah. So I will say, so honestly, like leading up to this, I mean, running stint so far, this like 7-week running stint, my sleep was not great, like in general.
Yeah. What changed? How did you change it?
So, all right. There's a few things that I swear by at this point, having gone from bad sleep to, I think, really, really good sleep at this point. Number one, sleep mask. So I have a really high quality, like it's a Manta sleep mask. That thing is amazing because I can't see with any light.
Yeah.
And then I have, for any time that it's somewhat loud out, I have earplugs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to like think about. There's literally a construction site across the street. I also have few lights in the house. So at like a little bit after sunset, the lights go down and start to like get a bit reddish.
Perfect.
Which is really nice, and it's just relaxing. It's just like a good cap to the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is probably the biggest thing. So we live in an air-conditioned house, all that fun stuff, but we're on the top floor, and for us to get a cold room at the top floor
in the summer,
we would have to crank the entire house down to 60, which is a waste of money.
Right.
So we got a window unit in our room, even though it's air conditioned.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my God, it is the best. and it's one of the it's like a U shaped. So the motor is on the outside of the window,
Right.
and then it blows air on the inside, so it stays quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is the biggest game changer. I
Game
think that
changer. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is probably the biggest thing. And so that was a huge change. And then I would say also just being super dead tired from running also helps.
Yeah, that definitely does help quiet the mind. And
Yeah.
I love the red light because it helps cue the bedtime ritual, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then just to emphasize it again, I think in my head this makes sense, which is running and your workout and life, that's the stimulus for adaptation, but sleep is where that actually takes place.
Yeah.
And you're just cutting yourself short if you do one but not the other. And then last but not least, I'm gonna give a shout out for my friend Ian, who watched the second video, the one on overcoming resistance, and he said that he, after watching that, wants to run through a brick wall, and that is very awesome in all capitals. So we're inspiring some good. We're inspiring some energy there.
That's cool. Let's go.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm pumped about this. I think this is fun.
Yeah.
I told you I would take videos. I did not
That's
take
fine.
videos this week.
That's fine.
I want to do that. Because it would be fun to just have, like, for my purposes too. I would love to just have a running channel or like
Yeah.
a workout channel.
Yeah.
I think it'd just be fun.
Yeah. Definitely. And
Yeah.
I also think that it could work really well for us to be talking over, doing a talk over while that video played of you training, and
Yeah.
we comment on things here and there that we noticed,
Yeah.
or whatnot. But I keep having these visions. I'll daydream about us at the start line in Richmond, and it just gives me goosebumps every time. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is gonna be so.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's gonna be so amazing. So
Yeah.
keep up the good work. Keep getting that good sleep. Do the small things right, and stay hard.
Stay hard.
Yeah, man.
That's what I always say.
Yeah.
All right. Always saying that.
All the time. All right.
Yeah.
Buddy.
All right. Good talk. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Peace.
Bye.